Hey everybody, welcome to PDQ Live. And today we're covering, things you can use with PDQ Deploy and Inventory to make you just that much more awesomer.
Power user.
And efficient. But it turns out this list is extensive, so we have honorable mentions to start off. These are things that we thought were pretty neat, but there's too many things to cover.
Too many.
All right, so the first one, and I'm shouting this one out because I was in the video.
Obviously. Yeah.
We did a video with Marcel where he kind of built a package in a unique way.
Mm-hmm.
He uses WinRAR, and all of the customization and silent parameters are built within the package there. You package up in a single thing. You can upload that to connect or deploy. Mm-hmm. It'll run silently. Mm-hmm. And it comes with some extra customization, like the ability to break up larger install files.
Really good for large install files. Yeah.
So it's a bit more work up front, but once you have the process built out, it's very fast, and you can do a lot of customization. So I think we have a link for that video, hopefully.
Yeah, a lot of these honorable mentions that we're going to talk about have links, and most of what we're talking about today will also have links in the description here on YouTube.
But this is something different we've never talked about before, so check it out, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed shooting the video. One take because Marcel, professional.
Professional. Okay, next up, PS Windows Update, right? We talked about it before.
Yeah, this one, it was something we built out kind of for packaging on kind of a side project. We did a webcast on it where if you're not looking for just the past Tuesday updates, where it catches everything, it gives you a bit more customization. You can target specific KBs or specific types, whether you want to get only security and you want to leave the others out. So it gives you a bit more customization if you're looking to keep your Windows update without just doing the monthly patches.
You can be really granular with what you're looking for. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Third one, the repository variable, which people should be using so much more.
So much more.
So, and what we find is a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this myself, when we're building custom packages, you just put the save file wherever is quick and easy. I use in the webcast ctemp all the time, and then I leave files that get stuck behind it. I forget all about them. If I put them in the repo, which is right here, you can define what that is there, and it just becomes a variable of $ repository.
Okay. You
just put all your files there. Once the package is obsolete or you're no longer using that one, it'll automatically clean up, and it'll clean up after you, and it makes sure everything's all in a central location. So I would highly recommend for your custom packages, still put all of your files up in the repo just for more control, and it's easy to call a variable instead of typing out a shorter path.
And it will get cleaned up.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, and then the last one of honorable mentions is, I don't know how many PowerShell users we have, but Colby, who I insulted in the pre-show.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, he built a module that works with the PDQ products, and it gives a lot of customization or ease of use that you can't quite get fully with the CLI.
Okay.
So I'd take a look at his module. We definitely have a link for that one, and it gives you a lot of things, like it makes it easier to run like a SQL query if you're looking to do something that specific, or you can update variables. You can make the variables right across so both products have the same variable value. There's just a lot of great tools within that module. I'd check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, Jordan, to get that installed, they can run install module PDQ stuff. Yep. And I also want to shout out the connect PDQ inventory scanner command that lets you link a scanner to more than one scan profile.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the chat there. I'm behind. I got distracted by a phone call.
That definitely wasn't my son calling. No.
All right. I'm actually going to take this question before we move on, just because it does tie in.
Yeah, hang on. Let's just throw it on up there. How does the repo get cleaned up automatically?
So the way it works is if you have files up in that file location in the repo, and it's not tied to a package in deploy, it considers it an unused file.
Yeah.
So the repo will check that, and if it ever finds every file that's not tied to a package, it will list in there, and then you'll get a link down here on the bottom.
Notification, yeah.
Yeah, say you have X number of files. You can click that and automatically delete them. You can, if there's a file you're not using but you don't want to delete, put it in an exception list so it's not part of that. But basically, that's all it is. It looks there. If there are files that aren't being actively used in any of your existing packages, it'll give you a list of all those so you can go through and just click a button and remove them.
I have a follow-up question. So say I'm making my own packages. Do I want to keep those separate? Do I still want to include them in that same repository for the reasons you just listed? What's best practice there?
I would absolutely keep it in the repo because in the case that we'll show later in this one, we did a Office 365 auto download. those files are still existing on this computer because I didn't put it in the repo. It's not tied to anything, but it's taken up 5 gigs.
So, because you forget about things, just put it in this location to help yourself. Okay, got it.
All right. So now, number 1 on our power user things, and we're going to let Andrew talk about it because I don't want to.
Why not? Hi, Andrew.
Hi. You know what? The power of words and text. And that brings us to regular expressions, a way to figure things out with words. Unfortunately, PDQ Deploy and Inventory support some regex stuff, which we can show off, Jordan, if you'd like. You can use regular expressions in variables, for example. Oh, Jordan, you've already done this.
I'm way ahead of it.
So can you tell us what we're looking at here?
All right. So for regular expression, we just basically have Opera and Firefox separated by a pipe. With regex, a pipe means or. So we basically built a variable that says, does it say Opera or Firefox? You can get far more complex than this. This is just a quick and easy one where we can showcase instant value without a lot into it. But just know regex can do so much more.
Yeah, and we're not going to teach people how to use regex right now, but they can go to regex101.com, combine that with maybe some AI, chat GPT stuff, and you can get yourself rocking with some simple regular expressions. But Jordan, in inventory, we can run comparisons against expressions, right?
Absolutely. So new dynamic collection. We're going to call it, so basically we're in the scenario is if you have a list of software you don't want in your environment. In this case, for some reason, we've decided that Opera and Firefox are a no-go, mostly because those are what popped into my head first.
Mm-hmm. So we're making a deny list. Let's start there. Okay.
So we're going to come down to, we're going to look at all the applications, and we want the name to, instead of contains, regex is going to be match. So does not match or does match. So we want ones that match the expression for that variable that we created. So this should go through and you should find every machine that has Opera or Firefox or both installed. So if it shows up on that list, it's going to show up in this collection, he said, hopefully. There should be 11. We did it.
We did it. Okay, dumb question, perhaps. How do you know that with expressions you're using matches? Is that in the regex 101?
So,
or how would someone know that this beginning?
Well, in this one, if you're using regex, match is just what it is. You're basically matching the expression for that. It's just
always.
Okay. Yeah.
Continue.
All right. So this one we have 11. If I went in, you could see that they all have some version of, this one's got not Firefox, which probably has Opera. I hope. Otherwise, this is going to be real embarrassing.
Well, we're learning together.
Can I read her? It's Mozilla Firefox. There we are. Did it.
Success.
Yeah. So with this, you can create just a regular expression. So you get a new application you don't want in your environment at all. You can go through and just put in a pipe, add the name of that one. And then for removal, you can just build a package of uninstall lists. If we have that pre-built, fantastic. It makes it easy for you.
Okay.
But if you do not, then you can, if you build your own silent uninstaller, you can just include a nested package of all that software. So whatever pops up into that list, that package will run against it. You don't have to worry about what software it is or anything like that. It'll just kick off and it'll remove all the software that you don't want.
Is there a limit to how many I can specify using that pipe? Could I do 10?
If there is a limit, I've never found it. When WannaCry was a thing, we had to add every single new KB when searching for ones that have been patched against it. And that went on for a year and a half, and we never hit the end of the list. So
That's awesome.
I don't know of the end, but if you find the end, that's impressive.
Cool. Okay.
We're looking for uninstall.
Just quote
That's not per user. All right. So
we've targeted the machines that we know have it. Now we're going to go for the uninstall portion. Okay. So you're looking for the uninstall string, right?
Yes. Well, not just the uninstall string. So the first point we tried to do PowerShell, where we just go and we'd go into the registry key and say, here's the uninstall string. But we found that never includes the silent parameters, which means either if they're all MSIs, fine, you're done. You can just include the same silent parameter. But if it's an EXE,
Trouble.
I believe Firefox is an EXE for uninstall. So instead of just going through, we have one out there on the bonus content where you can specify all the applications individually and all the silent parameters for each application. And I'll go through and find the uninstall string and remove it. but that's going to require you have to update the PowerShell as well as the variable each time. We're just trying to make it so it's just, here's this one package, you can run it. It's just a bit more customizable. And then instead of, I tried this one script to uninstall 10 applications. One of them failed and you have to go and research. I ran it and it didn't uninstall this one. You get precise logging, basically.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
All right. Well, I'm slowly looking up how the alphabet works.
How does it work?
I don't think we actually have one.
Hey, I do have a question, Jordan.
All right.
Is there a max limit of how many nested packages you can have in a package?
I don't know the answer to that.
We just pop these questions on you. That's fun, huh?
There's probably some limit, but I haven't really seen people run up against it.
Right.
I don't think most people get more than like 6 to 12.
So
But you can go higher than that.
yeah, so all we're doing is nested package, then I'm going to go and point to the uninstall one that I had.
Okay.
Colby just chimed in, by the way. He said there used to be a limit. He built a package named Nest of Death, and I do remember when he did that.
I
don't know how, but I knew Colby was going to chime in on that.
60 layers? Oh
yeah,
my
so
gosh.
that wasn't even 60 total. I believe that was 60 nest within a nest.
Okay,
that
so
point. Yeah.
we're probably not going to butt up against that is what we're going to say, right?
Yeah, and that's why I'm in front of the camera, because Colby was different level smart.
Still is.
Was.
No, I mean, you took his place. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, come on now. I like that. 1 million packages.
All right, so instead of a schedule, I'm just going to deploy it once and to the collection that we built, and that should uninstall all this stuff, although I didn't do the Opera one. But the theory remains.
Gotcha.
But that's where regex can really help. The other part that we're going into, which is also, oh my goodness.
Innestion. Alex said innestion.
Apparently I closed both products because the first load takes a long time. That's what I should have done that in the pre-show. That would have been a great idea.
Why not? Hey,
Just
it's
go to
okay.
an list. We're just
We like this. This is fun.
send against all those.
Do it.
All right. So the next part we're going to talk about is the CLI, I think, which we feel like more people should be using. You had a different experience.
I'm going to say command line interface because these acronyms, I'm too old. Okay. Can we just say command line interface in case people don't know what that is? Let's say that. Okay. I hate it. Can I just be blunt?
That's fair.
I followed the guide because I like to try everything, and it was laborious, Jordan. It took me for freaking ever. I found the GUI to be so much easier just to do a deployment. So just explain to me why it's useful.
So I would say as a one-off, you're not necessarily wrong.
Okay.
And especially where you have never used the command line, and so you're reading as you go and building up, that's going to be a slower process. So I don't disagree with that. Where command line adds value is the things you can do for automation, or you can put processes in places where you're not necessarily in the same area. When we did the imaging, we had the image to machine would call to the deploy server to kick off the deployment back to itself.
Yeah.
And that's something where the CLI was critical for that because we don't know when the image is done. So the customization and automation you get with the command line, I'm saying that says CLI because
Thank you.
I your input has been received.
Thank you.
But the value is really with the automation side of things. As a one-off, you would have to be really familiar with the command line and typing those kind of things out to be faster than just hitting Control D and choosing your computer.
Okay. Well, because I had to look up the IP address, and I was like, how is this faster? You're killing me, man.
And Alex makes a good point, too. If you're looking to wow your coworkers that aren't IT, just type out a string and bam, rock star.
Probably, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So there's some really useful ones that come in there. The check database does some, like if you're having some sort of issues, it does some minor cleanup. That's pretty handy to have. The update custom variable, I combined that one with the one in inventory. So I just have to write one command and it updates the variable on both products.
Okay.
That's pretty useful to have. As you stated, you can use it to deploy, but
Well, and I just did deploy. Let's just be clear. I just did that one command, but there's different commands for each product, right?
yes, if you know what you're looking for,
Yeah.
there's definitely, I mean, there's a lot in the CLI. This is the inventory selection one. All right, and I think there was one in inventory that Andrew was a big fan of, but I'm already forgot.
Yeah, no, import custom fields, PDQ inventory, import custom fields. And you know what? This can help improve the way that you get data into inventory. And guess what? You can call this command from deploy, targeting the deploy and inventory server, which I've done in the past, to kind of fully automate bringing in data from other systems. Perhaps you have some other data from your ticketing system for each machine or something like that. You can export that as a CSV, run a PowerShell script that grabs all that on a recurring basis. You can automate it, put it as a package with the schedule, and you can now all of a sudden be bringing some extra stuff into PDQ inventory, thereby increasing its value.
That's cool.
Yeah. Custom fields is, and we're not really diving a whole lot into that one, but we had a customer in the chat a couple weeks ago that mentioned they use that for the date the computer was purchased. And so they have just a custom field that lets them know when they need to refresh certain hardware to make that easier. So custom fields are extremely valuable.
Yeah,
being able to do it from CLI, because from the CLI you can reference a CSV file or any sort of document and import it directly in, as long as the fields are named right. Should automatically fill all those out for you.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
All right. Now we're going to go to Brock.
It's Brock's turn. Brock, go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
You guys excited for this one?
No.
Brimming with excitement.
This is my least favorite one.
Is it because it's Brock, or are there other reasons?
Love this one. So we recently did a video about identifying non-work related files. And I think that's linked down at the bottom too somewhere.
Yep.
But so what we did is we took the files and directory scanner, and we're basically kind of like scanning computers for files that may be considered non-work related. That would be like your MP3s, MP4s, PNGs, JPEGs, things like that. Things that like people are trying to have fun, and we don't allow that here. So we can actually take that up a level by incorporating a little tool called WizTree. And I think Jordan's got a tool that he can show off for us that he's built. The nice thing about WizTree is it comes with a CLI, and we can actually use that CLI to build a custom tool in inventory. And what it does is it basically makes it easy, because we can use these built-in variables inside of PDQ inventory to scan remote computers with WizTree. And what WizTree does is it basically just like grabs a whole picture, scans all of your files on a hard disk, and it gives it to you in a format that makes it easy to identify files that might be taking up a lot of disk space. So, and I think we've got a tool to show off here. So yeah, Jordan's running this right here.
So I did Control-Shift-W. That was a hotkey that we defined. Now that's already run, I'll go back to the tools. So
that's the other cool thing about tools is you can set up hotkeys and stuff. So literally just a couple of keyboard clicks, and you can run this tool against any of the computers that you have in PDQ inventory. And you can see that defined there at the bottom with the shortcut.
So
but you can also get an idea of the command that we're running right there. And we're running it against, I guess, the users folder. Is that right, Jordan?
Yeah, so I specified the users folder, and I actually had to go move the files for our example to meet your demands here.
Yeah, so we wanted to. So normally you would want to run that against the entire drive. We're running it against just the users folder, just so it returns the results snappier for us.
Yeah. So all we're doing is we're calling the WizTree exe, because we installed it on this machine specifically, and then the computer that we're calling is target name. This is a variable defined within inventory. So if I highlight a machine, it's going to put that target name there, and then with the path to the C drive, and it goes to the remote machine and it pulls it back. And as you can see here, this one had less than 20%, and these are the Office 365 I was talking about earlier, how those are not needed anymore, but I didn't put them in the repo. So they're just kind of taking up 5 gigs of space on a limited hard drive.
Okay, so now we've
it's nice that
identified
you can
them.
just like, we can just quickly see, oh, hey, this computer's running out of space. Let's see what files are taking up so much room. And we can quickly identify those. And again, you don't have to, with this utility, you don't have to specify MP3s, MP4s, you don't have to specify those file types. It's just going to search everything and then give you a good presentation of which files are taking up the most space, and and then just puts them out in these little blocks. But the real power comes in because you don't want to run this on every single computer in inventory. So what we do is we just identify the computers that are in the collection library in that less than 20% or less than 10%
Yep.
disk space left.
Yep.
And then we just run it against those computers, and then we can, go from there and see what files need to be cleaned up.
It's not going to do the removal for you, but if you have a repeat offender or a machine that's showing up in there, it's a quick way to see if there is a particular offending file that you can remove, or at least find out, hey, why do you need this?
Okay.
In this case, I could do a PowerShell script of like remove item and specify the path to that one in with a recurse, and it's just going to delete all of that. I know it can go, but just make sure that's a file you can delete. It's just a great
Right.
way to see into machines that are running low on space.
Yeah, but be careful. Just make sure you really can delete it. Yeah, that's awesome. I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah. So Mike in the chat mentioned you can just put the 64 version of it in the repo. Yeah, there's a portable version. We didn't do the portable for this one, but if you have the portable version, you can call it the exact same thing. And it should, you just make sure the path goes to the executable. But he is correct. Instead of having that full long path to the file that I have, you could just change that up to be the variable repo / to that file, and it will run.
Cool. That's very handy.
And
I like
tools
that.
in general are just awesome. So any application you have that has like a CLI that you can tie into, you can really start to take advantage of like PDQ inventory as almost like your main console that you just use for managing all of your computers. And you just kind of like use those tools through our interface.
So I'm seeing comments about how this is fast, which I agree, but we are also not doing the whole C drive.
Just
We're
the
looking
user.
at users.
Yeah.
The C drive would be significantly longer.
But 7 seconds. I mean,
That's not bad.
not bad.
Yeah, even if you're doing the entire drive, it really doesn't take long. We just didn't want to be, staring at the loading screen forever. So
Yeah. Okay, we're done with Brock now.
Yeah, here.
Get out of here, Brock. Okay.
all right, I'm out of here. See
What
you
else we
guys.
got?
See you next week.
Next one is the filtering, which we have the filter up here, which is kind of nice. You can put Bab and it pulls up with that. But
Right.
a lot of people don't know, if you hit Control F in there, you get a different version of the filtering that has a bit more customization.
Well, I immediately ask you, what's the difference, Jordan? I did. I immediately ask him.
Yep. So in this one, you can specify 2 things. So we want things that have the letter B as well as bug, or well, bugs has B, but we'll say gran. And I'll go through and I'll find things specifically
2 values.
2 value you're looking
Yeah.
for without looking, or you can get more specific. You could do, like, I want to know which one has OS version 11. And then I could go find another column. You can call it specific columns to find, like, if I want to know which ones have Office 11 that have not enough RAM, I could look
Okay.
at the RAM column and do that. And right here, it's a quick thing to get the look. The value I get from this is if you're looking to build a collection or any sort of custom collection, it's a good way you can pull in some extra examples instead of having to go build out the whole collection, hit
Yeah.
save and see if it's what you want.
Yeah.
You can build a rough sketch within that filter.
Like a preview.
And so going into what you're looking to build. So it's just a quick way to get, I guess, more customizable filtering. And for me, the big value is helping with collections, but I mean, fine tuning never hurts.
Cool. Okay. I like that. That one's very cool. So what other hotkeys should we talk about in this same vein, do you think?
Well, this is Andrew's area. Andrew loves
Andrew,
hotkeys.
we're back to you, Andrew.
I am hot for keys. Love the hot keys. Love being a power user. You know what? With custom tools, you can set your own hotkeys. So can we look at the tools library real quick?
Absolutely. So for the one we built, I did set
boom.
Control Shift W, what automatically kicks off WizTree, which is nice to have.
And those are some great shortcuts you got there. While we're looking at this screen, yeah, you can really do a lot with these
I'm
tools,
going
by
to
the
do
way.
Control
Like,
Shift. I'm going to change the hotkey while we're. There we go.
you're changing it live?
Yeah, here we go. Now Control
that
Shift
easy.
W will no longer do it. All right,
There
sorry.
we go. Well, we can free that up for something else, make it make more sense. But click on the tools library. Just while we're here, I got to show this off. So we're showing off tools and how cool they are. And whenever I see cool stuff, I'm like, oh, what can I do? And it can be hard to come up with ideas. But fortunately, we have tons of tools there for you to get started with, to look at, to get some ideas and inspiration from. They all work a little bit different and can kind of give you some different examples to base your stuff on, in addition to getting you some useful stuff. Look at that.
Yeah, and
Ping
it has
persistent.
Yeah, the persistent ping is like a troubleshooting tool, or there's a flush DNS, which is real useful if you're having those kind of issues. So, you don't have to use these, but it's a great place to look to get an idea of what you can do with that.
Yep. And you can obviously give those hotkeys. Now, on the subject of hotkeys, I want to let you know that a lot of your favorite hotkeys that work in other programs with selection and things like that work here. So, for example, if we were to be looking at a big list of computers, good old Control A, it'll give you everything. You can Control click to deselect things, or select multiples. You can Shift click to select a range. There's a lot of small little improvements like that. So Jordan, we'll grab 3 computers.
All right.
So if you right click on those computers, you can see there's tools and PDQ Deploy. And you see Control Alt D. That's the hotkey. Whenever we're going to be clicking things in the GUI, check out what the hotkey is. And if you're doing it a lot, actually learn it. So we can Control Alt D. It'll connect, find your packages. You can select the one. Okay, bada boom. You're cleaning up your computers. You look at it all, do what you got to do. We can or can't deploy it. It's up to Jordan's discretion.
It's 7-zip. I don't care.
You love
go
to
for
send
it.
that one. That's your fave.
It's a quick install, and
Yeah,
it's
why
not
not?
bad.
Yep. So you can do that. Another thing you can do is press F2 to rename things. It can be very nice to have a clean, organized repository, and occasionally we might type in something wrong, and it's a lot easier to just press F2 and get that correction in there than it is to like right click, or I don't even know. I always do F2. And that's a hotkey that's not PDQ Inventory and Deploy specific. You'll find other programs around Windows where F2 will allow you to rename things if you did not know that.
All right, there we
Okay.
go. Now I'm renaming.
One more thing I wanted to show off on this screen right here you're looking at. So you have a list of computers. It could be 5, it could be 50, whatever. Right click on the OS or any of the columns at the top. Yeah, OS is one that I see often. Yeah, you can select group by this column and it will group your objects, whatever's in the grid, in whatever you select. So it's kind of useful for going through large sets of data. I know we've looked at this probably in other interfaces before, but this is available right here.
So we do this a lot with reporting, but we've never really shown it in the main pane, I think. So it's pretty
cool.
useful. So Marcel in the chat mentioned Control C, Control D, Control V. And yes, that does work. Basically, the objects the inventory has, if you copy it, works for a list for a deployment. So if you grab a list of computers with Control C, you're just basically copying that list. And then he did, let me see, Control D is already based on the list. But so if we come over to, let's say, Git, apparently, and hit Control D to open up a deployment, you can just paste in the names you copied.
Awesome.
We skipped right over that one, but Marcel's right. That one is pretty, the way our products interact is pretty great, I think.
Nice.
Very cool.
All right. Do I get to talk PowerShell finally?
Your favorite. Do it.
And then
Do it,
we'll,
Jordan.
and then
Go.
we'll hit a speed round after that.
All right. So for PowerShell, this one is for collections. We do have a version of this up in the bonus content. I just turned it into a function, and so it'd be a single command instead of dealing with running it. So I just built a command of new inventory collection. Well, I don't want the whole thing. Nice, Jordan.
Get it together, man.
So variable name, and I'm going to use the connect agent as the example, even though that is automatically going to update. So it's not really going to be a useful one, but I'm not here to be useful. I'm here to show what's neat. I just need to know the names of everything.
Okay.
There we are. So we got, what did I do? Variable name is PDQ Connect Agent. I thought I was helping by separating it this way. I apologize to everyone watching at home. And then after variable name is, I don't like that it has that. I apologize. That was a mistake. That's because there's no space. I promise I can do PowerShell.
We believe in you.
All right, so if you want to see the list of the input it takes, just control space. So the application name, and I did this wrong, I'll fix that in just a bit. So PDQ Connect agent is the name of the application. That's what it's going to use for the value of the variable.
Okay.
For the actual variable, we want to do like app name, and that's going to build the variable within the product. For that was for easy update.
Okay.
See, variable version name is going to be appver, same thing. And I'm just going to do PDQ Connect to be quick. I mean, it's a bit too late to be quick, but quicker. And then the last one is, I believe, the application version. And all of that mess up was just me trying to get
All the information that's
the
right
version there,
Okay.
4.8.10. .10. All right, so if I run that, it's going to build an XML
there. Okay.
of the update. I probably should see where I put that one. I always put it in temp.
You do, yeah.
Auto collection. There we go. PDQ Connect agent. So there is the import for that one. So if we go over to inventory, top and do Control I to import, specify that one. It's going to build a collection, as you can see, of all the Connect agents. So it's going to go through. It's going to build out the way we build out all of our collection. So you got the name of the product. You have which one has the latest version, which is based on the version we put in there, as well as machines that don't have it installed, and looks like Microverse has an old version of the agent on there. I shouldn't have the Connect agent anyway. All right, but it's just a quick way to build a collection just from a PowerShell commandlet, and then you import the XML. And then from there, if we go back to the variables, it automatically builds out the variables they want. So if the new version of the agent comes out, you could update that to an 11
And it updates it every.
eventually. And it's going to move all those applications down to old because there's a newer version out. So
Cool.
it's just a fast way to build collections. I'll have to go through all of the customization and tools, and it's going to follow the same format of the ones that we have pre-built for you. All right, speed round of questions.
Let's do it.
All right.
I use pull deployments for 99% of my machines, but sometimes need to push to machines not on my domain, only have local admin access. Is there an easy way to push pull packages? Luke B.
So let's go in and take a look at the. I believe push and pull is a global setting, but we're going to see if there's a package specific one that we can go and set. And I'm sorry, I'm reading live, so I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but I figured I'd go and check. Properties, conditions. As far as I know, I don't believe there is a way to change the push pull. Oh, and actually, right there, copy mode push pull. So in this case, if you wanted to say both versions, you'd want to download it twice and just rename one of them to be, in this case, Git for Windows pull. So you know what's in there, and then you have the schedules doing that. So you can change the copy mode per package.
And specify the package.
Yeah, so you're going to want two versions of that package.
Makes sense.
Look at that, I learned live.
Good job.
You guys are the ones teaching me. Next question.
Next question. My understanding is the account running the server services does all the heavy lifting. So why do the inventory and deploy consoles need elevated UAC privilege? David B.
I'm sorry, read that. My understanding. You know, I don't have the answer for that. I'm sorry. As far as the permissions, I should understand that better, but I don't have a great grasp of that one. I'm sure there's a documentation on that one that hopefully Colby and Andrew can find,
Let's see
because
if they
I'm not
answer.
going to have a satisfactory answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
have an article on PDQ credentials explained. I don't know if it gets into like the technical reasons why it requires admin to run a console user, but it's there.
Background service.
Yeah, Colby is chiming in. If he remembers correctly, it's because they need permission to start the background service.
Colby's a legend.
He really is.
Colby.
He's my favorite.
All right, next question. Let's fly. I currently use a custom field to enter the build date and end of warranty on my devices. Is there a way to automate pulling in that data instead of manually checking the Dell websites?
So I've done this before at my last job, and yes, it is possible. What you'll have to do is some PowerShell, and you'll have to get an API key from Dell. And once you do that, you can write a script, and there probably are some already, that goes through all of the serial numbers of your devices and looks them up in Dell. And for that, I liked to export or create a report in PDQ Inventory that would create a CSV, use that as an input to my Dell API script, and have the Dell API script output a CSV that I could then run PDQ Inventory, import custom fields on. I know that's a lot of steps, but...
So, and for that one, you're going to want to make sure that the header, so either you want your PowerShell script to change the header to match what is in Deploy and Inventory, or you're going to have to manually do the mapping within Deploy and Inventory when you do the import. But yeah, with an API call, which I know Dell does have a pretty good one from what I've experienced, where you can do the API call to put it into CSV, and CSV's import, no problem, to update custom fields.
All right, we have
Yeah,
two
it's possible.
more questions to go. What are the prerequisites to get the wake command to work on a machine that is off/asleep?
So I can't remember the exact settings you have to have, but it's basically called a magic packet is what we send. If your NIC, whether the machine is off or on, is listening for that magic packet and that can wake it up, it will work. But I can't remember exactly what goes into making that or having, but it is a setting for the NIC to make that.
Yeah, it's hard to give all the details for it because it's kind of device specific. But yeah, you've got to set it like in your BIOS, you've got to set it on your NIC, and then you've got to make sure that your network is set to allow like broadcast packages. So it's a kind of a 3-step part, but yeah, it can be tricky because each one, your BIOS might be different than a different manufacturer, and your NIC is obviously going to be different. So
yeah, and Alex in chat points out that every hop on your network has to support the magic packet. So there's definitely some setup that goes into it.
All right, here comes our final question of the day. Why does PDQ have a save button instead of the normal OK, apply, cancel buttons? Have to click twice to save settings and close the window. Sincerely, Mike B.
Well, Mike, let's...
I think we would have to pull Adam out of retirement
Yeah.
and have him recall code that he did a decade ago to get that answer. I don't know.
That may have been a Shane decision too.
A Shane decision, yeah. So I do not know, and I'm sorry, but yeah, more clicks is never the preferred method forever. So I agree that less clicks would be better. I'm not sure why it is set up that way.
These are some good questions today.
There's some deep ones.
Yeah.
And that is it for questions. But before we go, Andrew, you wanted to plug a kind of an after-show Discord party, so to speak.
Yes, there is an after party happening in moments in Discord. As soon as we're off here, we'll be hanging out in Discord. Some people in our community are going to show off some 3D printing stuff. We're going to hang out, chat a little bit, and then continue our lovely workday. Link is in the chat.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I always love these particular kind of episodes because there are so many little tips and tricks for PDQ Deploy that can take it to the next level. Hopefully everyone came away with something that helps them they can use. For PDQ, I'm Jordan.
I'm Tara.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. If we didn't get to a question you have, feel free to reach out to our support forums. And if you like what you've seen, go ahead, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us on Discord, and please leave us your comments. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next time.